Shown here is a simplified process flow of a module based on pouch cells. And while what's shown here isn't the full scope of battery manufacturing, it's a good case study of ATS's in-depth knowledge of these processes and the pitfalls in automation and product design. First up is incoming validation. The success of a battery pack starts with ensuring the quality of the incoming cells. Cells need to be as balanced as possible to maximize capacity and charge rates. They also need to be traced, and incoming inspection forms the creation of the birth certificate of any given cell as it makes its way into the battery pack and ultimately installation into the vehicle. Barcode scan, open circuit voltage testing with rapid reject and sorting schemes are critical. More importantly, this is the front of your process. It needs to be the most reliable and available to supply the rest of the system. ATS has developed handling technologies for various form factors, both cylindrical and pouch, to give downstream processes the best shot at maximizing reliable throughput while maintaining quality. Next in this example process flow is tab formation. Again, more specific to pouch designs, preparing cells for stacking, proper stringing, and module configuration is another early step that not only needs to be reliable, but highly flexible. Tabs may require multiple form configurations depending on where they fit into the stack. The issue is, how do you achieve numerous custom forms on the incoming product that must be selected on demand and then rejoin the main production stream? It is not practical to batch produce these tab configurations when dealing with this amount of volume, and diverting cells through multiple material flow streams is a significant floor space demand. It's taken ATS decades to develop one of the most robust and capable material handling platforms, known as SuperTrack. Customers can access this intellectual property and immediately recognize the benefits of a high-speed, asynchronous material handling system that can deliver product only to the forming tool required, no batches, on demand, minimized footprint, and high throughput. After tab formation, the cells are ready for final array assembly or stacking. All pouch cell modules have some form of stacking or layering cells on top of each other to form the cell array. While simple in principle, after all, you're just layering pouches on top of each other, several factors are critical. First, the correct order of components must be selected and placed. Again, sounds simple, but consider what happens when a machine faults midway through the construction of a stack, which results in scrapping the current part in the gripper. How should the machine gracefully recover? What material is available line-side to replace the scrapped component? Second, we're often not just layering pouches, but a multitude of components, including membranes used for isolation, compression material, thermal brakes, and internal module structures. These materials must be available line-side to a densely packed assembly area. Finally, this is the last opportunity to influence the position of the cells in a stack before they must be handled as a group for module assembly. Therefore, precise alignment of the cells, specifically their tabs, is crucial. Getting this step wrong increases the risk of significant assembly and safety concerns further down the line. Now you're starting to see a group of cells more closely represent a module. And now we're on to one of the trickiest process steps, module build. In module build, the structure of the product is introduced. It often requires compression of the stack built in the previous step to fit the module casing. Again, compression on its own is not complicated. Still, ATS has employed clever solutions to handle the material effectively and apply the necessary compression and additional components to the stack to complete the module. It's also at this stage where it's common to introduce the cooling plate, as cooling is a necessary component of module assembly. To achieve effective cooling, air gaps need to be minimized, so cooling plates often arrive to a module assembly pre-applied with thermal interface material, or TIM, in a dispense process. Not shown on screen here, but I wanted to take a moment to highlight the importance of TIM dispense. As material sciences for low specific gravity and highly thermally conductive materials continue to evolve, TIM is becoming less abrasive, less damaging to processing equipment, and even injectable in some cases. The optimum distribution of TIM will promote battery cooling more effectively while keeping weight down. While not suitable for all battery products, applying TIM is a crucial process step, requires substantial equipment investment, and can be iterative to get it right. TIM is almost exclusively a two-component material and thus must be metered carefully. It's typically heavy and highly abrasive. A common approach is to mount servo metering equipment to the elbow of a 6-axis robot and allow the robot to trace the pattern. And provided there's sufficient cycle time, this is a highly flexible and suitable approach. However, this may not produce the required volumetric flow to meet total throughput. Thus, additional stations may be required. This multiplies the capital cost of the dispense and motion platform equipment. ATS has experience developing robotic systems for maximum flexibility and bespoke dispense solutions that optimize pattern density. After TIM is dispensed, it's typically concealed in a product and never seen again. Knowing that you've dispensed the correct amount of material in the right location is critical to a quality product. Real-time volumetric monitoring through laser scanning tools can measure the profile during dispense and guarantees the correct amount and shape of material was applied. The bulk of the module is now produced. Time for final preparation, starting with tab bend. In the final module assembly, all the tabs and connection points protruding from the module case are prepared for final joining or welding. While not the most complex step in the process, ensuring tabs and connection points are in good contact is vital to our next step. Once tabs are successfully formed in place, we can begin another critical step, laser welding. If there's one process in this entire fabrication of a module, regardless of it's a pouch or a cylindrical cell, that is most critical to quality, it's laser welding. An automation partner who is an expert in laser welding is a necessity. Laser welding has emerged as the preferred technology for cell bonding to the lattice structure. With our in-house lab, ATS can develop welding process for our customers with similar or dissimilar metals, or perhaps develop an aluminum welding process without filler wire or shielding gas while still producing quality welds. However, welding components not in contact with each other usually yields poor results. ATS has developed dozens of laser weld clamping applications to achieve a reliable zero gap, while working around intricate geometry of battery design and being non-conductive when necessary. Last but not least, ATS can provide fully automated solutions in either standard or customized Class 1 laser enclosures for safe operation on the factory floor. Deviating slightly from the pouch cell example we're looking at here, consider a typical EV battery pack full of cylindrical cells. Upwards of 6,500 cells can be strung together, each requiring a connection to a positive and negative terminal, resulting in 13,000 individual joints. In this required volume, this is only economical through a robust laser welding process. Each weld site is critical to product quality, and a bad weld directly impacts vehicle performance. In a production process with a 98% first-time quality pass rate, a weld process with 13,000 welds needs to have a 99.98% success rate. And there's more. This process needs to be fast. 3D galvo heads can weld very quickly, but the real trick here is the robust automated clamping solution mentioned earlier that reliably couples the bus strings to the cells while at the same time working around product geometry. That zero gap between the lattice structure and the cell surface is vital to a good penetration weld. What separates ATS from other companies is our strong partnership with some of the industry-leading laser manufacturers to develop new technologies, such as integrated real-time monitoring with scanning galvo weld heads. This monitoring can not only inspect the quality of each weld by measuring the keyhole of the weld directly, but can also be fed forward to the primary process laser fiber or motion platform. This allows tooling to course correct or modulate power. Gone are the days of indirectly measuring the weld by visualizing the plume. Coaxial process monitoring lasers can see through the effluent and plumes given off by the process to measure various features while simultaneously welding. This direct measurement is the secret sauce to real-time weld monitoring and ensures the highest quality process. To build on the value of real-time monitoring, consider end-of-line testing might result in thousands of dollars in scrapped work in progress until a weld problem is identified. Maybe one of the sites in the clamp matrix has become damaged, and there are now repeated weld failures at that contact site over dozens of modules. With process monitoring and careful development, these weld failures are identified at the source and can be dealt with immediately. Validation of this real-time technique is also essential to build process confidence. This can be handled in ATS's dedicated laser lab via tensile strength tests and cross-sectioning to verify the weld penetration and strength. And of course, knowing this information earlier in the stages of your product development is better than later. Does your automation supplier have the facilities and lab equipment to support and test your process, or demonstrate process capability through samples and coupons before the final product is complete? It's not uncommon to submit coupons or pre-production level components to a laser lab for process validation. And prototype work is just the beginning. ATS does not stop at the lab. We use this early development knowledge and the lessons learned with our customers to design and build world-class production laser welding equipment. The module is now largely complete. Time for final quality checks before packaging. Knowing that batteries in either modules or packs meet their desired metrics is essential to validate key processes before ramping up to production. Whether incoming cell inspection, such as open circuit voltage measurement, or leak testing on the coolant circuit, each successful production line has both inline and offline testing to help minimize scrap and ensure a quality product. Other essential testing requirements are likely to include high-pot test, DCIR testing, and low voltage circuit testing to validate that the battery's internal voltage monitoring system is functioning correctly. To couple with the connection points on the cell, module, or pack, the automation tooling may require custom connectors to ensure long-lasting and reliable contact. On the back end of testing is the data banking of all this information, so each product has a credible birth certificate from the production floor to the final consumer. We quickly stepped through a process based on pouch cell manufacturing and touched on several processes related to that workflow. There are many more from which ATS has developed design authority. To mention a few, adhesive dispense when joining cylindrical cells to their carriers, module case welding, sealing of the pack enclosure, and finally, complete pack charge and discharge cycle testing are all additional essential areas in EV manufacturing.